What is up, you guys? It is Centric45 here, and in this video, I'm going to be discussing with you guys the new archetype that was just announced for the OCG called Adamatia. So yeah, guys, this was just announced for the new deck building pack that's going to be released in the OCG. I think from what I read, it's going to be released, I think, sometime in March. I'm not too sure about that. Do not hold me credited to that, but yeah, it is coming out in the new deck building pack for the OCD called Secret Slayers, as you guys can probably read right here. And basically, what this archetype is about is it's basically just about excavating like some of the top 5 cards of your deck each time, and then like stacking them to get their tuners and everything. Special summon to the field to make your own synchro plays, spam them out on the field to either get you spell and trap negation, big beaters, and overall just basically just for spamming out synchros really easily by excavating the top cards of your deck like every time with each Adamatia that gets summoned. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing you guys what the effects are, what they can do, how they synergize with each other, and all that stuff. And if you guys do enjoy it, and if you want to see more discussion like this in the future, let me know in the comments below what I can do. And feel free to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it. And if you enjoy seeing my content here, feel free also to subscribe to the channel and turn on those turn on the notification bell so that you guys don't miss a video each time I upload it. And without further ado, let's just go ahead and discuss about it. So yes, guys, this is going to be called the Adamatia archetype. So basically, they're all just a bunch of rocks, and they're like either level 2, level 4s, and these are just some of the few cards that have been announced so far. And the first one we're going to start off with is going to be this one here called Adamatia Seeker, which actually looks a bit cool, I guess. And it's an earth rock tuner monster, which is level 2, 1200 attack, 1000 defense. And you can only use each effect, its first and second effect, once per turn each. So its first effect reads, if you control an Adamantia monster, except itself, you can special summon this card from your hand. And I think the other tuners do this as well. And the second effect reads, during your main phase, you can activate the top 5 cards from your deck. And if there is a non-tuner level 4 or lower rock monster among them, you can special summon one of them and place the other cards on the bottom of the deck. And I think also the tuners also do let you stack themselves like that. In other ways, they just differ from each other. Like some, I think, let you special summon a Adamatia monster. Some are restricted to rocks like this one and other stuff. So yeah, they're basically all the same. They can all the tuners can basically special summon themselves as long as you control either a rock monster or an Adamatia monster and all that other stuff. And they're just really good to help you get started with your plays and help you, get the monsters you need to go into your synchro plays later on. This one here just lets you dig deep into your deck to let you get it set up for your synchro plays. And the next one we're going to be checking out is Adamatia Researcher. And this is also an Earth Rock level 2 tuner monster with 100 attack and 2100 defense. And its effect reads, they're all the same. You can only use the first and second effect once per turn. And the first effect is pretty much the same. If you control a rock monster except itself, you can special summon this card from your hand. The other one here said if you control an Adamatia monster, you can special summon it, but this one's just a rock, so this is good if you don't want to be locked into just playing the Adamatia cards themselves. So this could synergize well with other archetypes. And the second effect is almost similar to the other one as before, except this one here I believe is also the same. Yes, they're both also the same. So you get to activate the top 5 cards. If you activate a non-tuner level 4 or lower rock monster, you can special summon it and organize the other activated cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. So yeah, both of those effects are pretty much the same. And this one here just differs from being a rock monster other than just an Adamatia monster. So that's also really good. And then the next one, I think this is going to be the last tuner, if I'm not mistaken. that was announced for this archetype. This one is called Adamatia Analyzer. It's also an Earth Rock tuner monster, level 4, 1500 attack, 700 defense. And same effect, once per turn each for both effects. And this one here can special summon itself if your opponent controls a monster. So it doesn't really do that well going first, but going second, this is just really good. And even if you're going first, this you can just obviously normal summon this because it's a level 4, so it's good right there. And the second effect reads is same thing. You can activate the top 5 cards in your deck. If you excavate a non-tuner level 4 a rock monster among them, special summon one of them, place the remaining at the bottom in any order. So they're pretty much all the same. All the tuners basically are just there to tutor out the non-tuner monsters that let you special summon themselves, so to later on get you into your synchro plays, which we will be discussing in this video. But yeah, that's just how this one works out. And this is one of the non-tuner rock monsters for the archetype. This one is called Adamatia Crystallionite. It's a fire rock effect monster. 0 attack, 2200 defense. So really good in defense points right there. And each effect, the first and second effect, are once per turn each. And the first effect reads, for all the non-tuner rock monsters of this archetype, they can all be special summoned, in different ways. Like this one, for example, says if this card is special summoned by the effect of an Adamatia card, you can place one Adamatia card from your hand or graveyard on the top of your deck. So this is just really good for, reoccurring your resources from the grave whenever you have them go away for synchro plays and stuff like that. And the second effect reads, if this card is in your graveyard, you can target one fire synchro monster you control or in your graveyard. That's a cost. And return it to your extra deck. And if you do, place this card on top of your deck. So it's just really good for recycling and for, getting yourself set up on your next turn to spam up more synchros during your turn. And this is just really good for, recycling itself and going back to, getting yourself set up for, what you're going to be doing next turn. And yeah, I think all the first effects of each of these are pretty much the same. I'm not too sure about that here because I am actually just reading this as we speak. But yeah, it's just really good for extending your plays, getting yourself set up for the next turn and all that stuff. And then next, this is Adamatia Crystal Reptite. I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure. This is a wind level 4 rock effect monster, 0 attack, 2200 defense, hard once per turn for each effect. And first effect is also the same. If it's special summoned by the effect of an Adamatia card, which is going to be from your tuners, place one rock monster from your hand or grave to the top of your deck. So good synergy right there for, for later on. And second effect is also the same. If this card is in your grave, target one wind synchro monster you control in your grave, return it to the extra deck, and if you do, place this card on top of your deck. So yeah, they're the non-tuner rock monsters are almost the same. They just are very specific to which synchro that you currently control or that's in your grave, so that you can get yourself set up for later, and just keep spamming them out during your turn. When your time comes around, if you don't die necessarily during your opponent's turn, but it just gets you set up in that way. And then the next one here is going to be called Adamatia Crystal Dragnite. Dragite. I'm not sure how you say that. It's a level 4 water rock effect monster, 0 attack, 2200 defense, and hard once per turn for each effect. And the first effect reads, if this card is special summoned by the effect of an Adamatia card, you can draw one card. So I think this is going to be one of the best cards, one of the best on non-tuner effect monsters of this archetype, because the draw power is there. And second effect is also the same, except this one lets you return a water synchro from your grave or you control to the extra deck. and then place this on top of itself. So all of these non-tuner effect monsters are just really good for reoccurring your resources later on, and just keep spamming them out during your turn and get them set up for either doing some OTKs or for maybe just getting your board set up for your following turn for negation or whatever. And then that is it for the uh, all the tuners and non-tuner monsters. Now we'll go ahead and get into the synchros. Here's one of them here. This is the fire one that synergizes with this other one here, Leo Knight. This one here is called Adamatia Rise Leo Knight. So it's a level 6 rock synchro monster, fire, and 2400 attack and 2200 defense. And all of these synchros are generic. It just requires one tuner and one plus non-tuner monster. Hard ones per turn for each effect. During your main phase, you can activate the top 5 cards of your deck, and if there is a Adamatia card among them, you can add one of them to your hand, and also place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is also just like during your turn, it could just be a really good extender for when you want to set up one of your own plays to get like your other synchros out, which I'll be discussing in a couple seconds. But this is just like a really good extender for the archetype that lets you dig deep to your deck to help you get set up for your other synchro plays. And for its second effect, during your opponent's turn, if there's a fire monster in your graveyard, as a quick effect, you can target one rock monster in your grave and special summon it. So basically, with this card here, if you have the rock Leo Knight monster in your grave, and during your opponent's turn, like while that rock is in your grave, you can target it, special summon it, and then assuming that you don't die, or assuming that they're going to their end phase or something, you can draw for your turn, and then later on, if you draw into either one of the tuners or one of the other non-tuners, you can go ahead and get it set up to special summon themselves, and then later on just do your synchro plays for later on, and just get your board set up depending on the game state. And then next, for the next synchro, this is going to be Adamatia Rise Reprint. This is the Wind Rock Synchro Effect monster. It's also level 6, 2200 attack, 2800 defense, generic also, and hard ones per turn for each effect. First effect is also the same. Activate top 5 cards, and if there's a rock, add one of them to your hand, place the remaining at the bottom. And the second effect reads, during your opponent's turn, if there's a wind monster in your graveyard, so like if you have the wind rock monster that's not a tuner in your grave, as a quick effect, you can target one card in your opponent's graveyard as a cost and banish it. So this is kind of like a DD Crow like effect for the archetype, and I guess it's okay to be able to banish missing critical combo pieces in your opponent's grave. I don't find that super effective against all matches. It really just depends on what you're facing. If you're facing a really graveyard centric deck, being able to duty curl one of their missing combo pieces they need to extend their place could be devastating. And the fact that this is not, negating its effect is kind of what throws me off a little bit. But other than that, it seems pretty decent, and I don't see that effect coming up as much, but it can be decent depending on your matchup and the game state. So there's that. And then next, for the next synchro, this is going to be Adamatia Rise Dragite. So they're all the same. Water Rock Synchro Effect Monster, level 8. 3000 attack and 2200 defense. So this is the strongest among all the synchros, and also pretty generic. One tuner, one non-tuner, one plus non-tuner, I mean. And hard ones per turn for each effect. And first effect, all the same. Activate type for cards. If there's a rock among them. Well, actually, no, this is different. I forgot to mention, this is this first effect is different. During your main phase, you can activate the top 5 cards of your deck, and if there's a rock monster among them, you can return cards your opponent controls to the hand up to that amount, also place the activated cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. So this one has the potential wherein if you can stack your deck with all the other like cards and spells that I'm going to be discussing with you guys, potentially you can be able to, without targeting, return cards to your opponent's hand up to the number of monsters that you control. So potentially you can start returning at least 5 cards on your opponent's field back to their hand without targeting, without destroying, and it's just really good as a good board wipe. And if you can set it up with the rest of the spells here, which are pretty crazy to me after I read them, uh, it really is good for just a board wipe and getting yourself set up to potentially do an OTK, since all these synchros are really high level and stuff. And the second effect, it's pretty decent. During your opponent's turn, if there's a water monster in your grave, when your opponent activates a spell or trap, as a quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. I kind of also wish this was a monster effect negation, because as of right now in current meta, spell and trap negation is not as strong as it used to be, and more people right now are just more reliant on monster effects. I kind of wish it was good right there, but it's not bad by any means. I don't really see this effect popping up as much, but it could be pretty decent depending on your matchup. So there's that. And that is it for the synchros. Now we're going to go ahead and get into the spells, and some of these spells are really cool. This one is the field spell for the archetype. It's called Adamatia Reprint, I think. I think that's how you say it. So first effect, all rock monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense. So that's pretty decent, I guess. And the second effect, once per turn, you can take up to 5 Adamatia cards from your deck and place them on top of your deck in any order. So with the potential of this, during each of your turns, when you're getting yourself set up to do something to activate the effects of your other Adamatia monsters, like your tuners, for example, you get to use this, stack your deck to what you potentially need on top of it, and then go off with your plays to either synchro summon for more plays, or potentially set this up for something like this, like Dragite, to help you make sure that you can get all 5 rock monsters on the top of your deck to be able to board wipe your opponent during your turn and all that stuff. So this is just really good for stacking, and it's really good to making sure that your tuners can keep resolving their effects each time. And then next, this is the normal spell for the archetype called Adamatia Sign. Its effect reads, target 1 rock monster in your grave. That's the cost. Special summon any defense. Then if you special summon an Adamatia monster by this effect, you can place 1 level 4 or lower rock monster from your deck on top of the deck. And what's good about this here is this card is not a hard once per turn. So if you have 3 copies of this in your opening hand, you can potentially keep activating each of them here, all in within the same turn. Target 3 of your rock monsters, special summon them, and for each effect that you get off of them when they're special summoned, you can start stacking your deck with whatever remaining rock monsters you have in your deck to activate them for later on and get a with your other plays. So this is also just a really good extender and helps you make sure that you can get into your synchro plays a little bit faster. So this could be really good if you want to like bait out stuff like Ash in the archetype, or like get yourself set up to do your synchro plays and potentially keep stacking yourself to get more advantage later on with the other tuners effects. And that's it for the spells. Then for the traps that were revealed, this is one of them. This is Adamatia Relief. This is a normal trap card. This lets you tribute any number of Adamatia monsters and then target that many cards plus 1 on the field, destroy them. So I guess this is pretty decent. Targeting and destroying isn't as strong as it used to be, because a lot of cards nowadays do bypass being targeted and stuff. So I don't really see this card being that useful in the long run, especially because it's a trap, so it's pretty slow. But other than that, it's pretty decent. I just kind of wish it didn't target as a cost, really, because there's so many cards that do that, and so many things flown on destruction now. So I can see this here kind of being as maybe a 1-up or a 2-up because this one here is somewhat searchable off of the fire, if I'm not mistaken. But other than that, as of right now, there's not many cards in the archetype that let you search out stuff like this. So I guess it's pretty decent, but I don't see this making a lot of play. And the last card here that was Sundowns. This is Adamatia Resonance. It's the counter trap for the deck, and it says here if you control an Adamatia Synchro monster, when a monster effect is activated, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. So this is the one that lets you, be able to negate a monster effects during, during your opponent's turn, and for something like this, with the current cards that are announced, this does require a little bit of setup to be able to get into this here, because you do need to have the tuner to be able to activate the non-tuner in the deck, then go into the synchro to go, like, for example, to the fire synchro to special summon itself, and then use its effect. Well, maybe use like the field spell to stack this on top of your deck, and then later on use the synchro to activate the top 5 cards. And if you get this, you can add it to your hand, set it for yourself later on going first, and then set up for the monster engagement later on. It is good that it's not a hard once per turn, but the fact that you need to go through so many loops to get this into your hand is very it seems like a little bit too much setup. And I guess this could be okay, I guess, in some instances, but I just kind of wish it didn't need that many hoops to get into to be able to search this out. But it's pretty decent for what it is. I just kind of wish this was the one that lets you negate spells and traps, and the synchro being the one that negates monster effects, because that would have been a lot better, and that would have given you more setup and more usable access to start negating your opponent's stuff during their turn and stuff. But other than that, I guess it's pretty decent. And for the last card that was announced here as a reprint, DokiDoki, it's getting reprint in this pack as well. I'm not really sure how good this is going to be in the archetype. I guess it can be pretty decent for what it is, but other than that, I guess it's just an okay reprint. I don't really know how else this is going to work. If you guys do find any good combos with this here, let me know in the comments below, because I'm not really sure how well this is going to be able to synergize with the rest of the deck. But other than that, guys, that is it. That is it for all the Adamatia cards that were just announced. So I think the Secret Slayers, as I mentioned before, should be coming out sometime in March of this year, before the Master Rule 5 changes. And as of right now, I don't really see this archetype making a big splash in the current Master Rule win, but it could potentially be a decent meta strategy. Maybe, I guess, maybe top tier 2, tier 3, I guess, in the new Master Rule. But as of right now, I don't really see this being as good under the new Master Rule, because you're not able to spam up that many synchros as much during, under the current Master Rule. But this could potentially be a decent rogue, or maybe a kind of tier 2-ish or tier 3 contender for the meta. But as of right now, it's not that good. But that's just my thoughts, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Do you guys think this is really good? Do you guys hate this? Do you love it? I really would love to hear your thoughts on this here. But thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to give this video a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below what you guys do want to see next. And if you do enjoy my content and you want to see more discussions like this, feel free to let me know down in the comments. And if you want to keep up to date with all that I'm uploading, subscribe to the channel, turn on the post notification bell so that you guys don't miss a video each time I upload it. And that's gonna be it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This is Henrik45 signing off.